Hey friends, it is Susan with Susie Simply Handmade, and we are going to be making some fabric flowers. So this is what we're making. What we're going to be using for the flowers is some 3-inch circles. You're going to need 6 circles for each flower of whatever color you want. I have chosen to use one solid, one print, floral print, and then I've got some really cute little buttons that I've glued there in the center. And then you're going to need skewers or something to use for a stem. You're going to need, of course, thread. And you're going to need a needle, okay? So, because these are hand sewn, okay? You can't glue these, I'm sorry. Some buttons or something for the center. That's what you're going to need for your, and of course your scissors, glue. Actually, we're going to need some glue because I've cut little circles to put on the backs of them to cover where we attached the stems. So you're going to need to just cut some little circles, just large enough to cover the stems on the back. Then for the wall hanging, we are going to use just a miniature embroidery hoop. Now you can use a big one. So I started to make the flowers large, but these are kind of big for this embroidery hoop. So I cut them down and made them a little bit smaller because we're going to try to put 3 on here. We're going to do something really unique with this. I've gone ahead and wrapped it in some jute twine. So I've got that all wrapped and ready. We're also for that going to be using some dowel rods, some wooden beads. Those are as big as I have. You might even want larger ones if you have them. I did bring some extra little pieces of greenery that I might tuck in, not sure. And then I brought some cotton rope. Let's get started on these flowers. Let's get them made first. They're really quick and simple. You're going to need 6 3-inch circles for your flowers. So what we're going to do is we are going to take your fabric circle and you're going to put the right side, the printed side of the fabric down. Okay. Then you're going to fold the one side into the middle. Then you're going to fold the other side over to the outer edge so that it looks like this. Kind of like you're rolling up a little burrito. Okay, you're gonna fold one side into the center, then you're gonna fold the other side into the edge and just kind of make sure that it's pretty straight at the top and bottom. And then all you're gonna do is hold that together and you're gonna fold it up in half. And that is as simple as it is. So you're gonna have a little square or a little rectangular piece of fabric there. Fold it up. So then you're going to take your needle and thread while you have that folded, and you're going to go through both layers. And I like to come up through the back side, through the bottom layer, up through the top. And then you're going to go back down through both layers, back up through both layers, back down through both layers, and back up through both layers. And you are going to pull all the way to your knot at the end of your thread. And then you will pull that and it'll form your first little petal. That's how simple they are, okay? So I'm doing a printed one, and then I'm going to do a solid. So again, I'm going to fold the one side in to the center. Then I'm going to fold the other side back to the outer edge, okay? Now I am noticing with some of these, when you go to fold them, sometimes the top will come in farther than the bottom or whatever. So make sure you get them pretty even at the top and bottom so that once you fold them in half, your top and bottom are the same width, okay? If they're not, kind of tuck in the wider one a little bit. Okay, now with this still on your thread at the knot, you're going to just keep going. You're going to add on all 6 petals. So again, we're going to come up through both layers, go back down through both layers, and you know, you're going to come across. This is just like a running stitch, a very simple running stitch. Anybody can do this. And if you do not have needle and thread, you can get little sewing kits at Walmart, at the dollar stores, whatever. So run your needle through like that and then just pull it through, okay? Pull it through. And as you join these together, they will start to gather. Now, you don't want to pull them too close. You don't want to pull them to where they overlap one another because they will kind of do that if you're not careful, okay? So you want them to gather, but you don't want them to overlap each other, okay? And you will adjust them once you get all 6 petals on here. We'll adjust them before we actually tie them off, okay? So let me get my next printed piece of fabric. And these go really, really quick once you get the hang of it. Fold to the center, fold to the outside, fold in half, and then we are going to sew that one on. And again, sometimes one end is a little wider. Just tuck it in there like it's supposed to be. make it work. And then again, grab your needle. Your thread is still all intact. Come up through the bottom and then just weave that through. Just do that plain running stitch. And you want to do this just only about 1/4 inch from the top of your flower. Don't come down too far. Stay up next to the top edge of your flower, okay? And then make sure when this comes together that they're all laying in the right direction to where they will kind of fan out and start to make your flower shape. Okay, so let's get a pink one. We're going to come into the center. We're going to come to the outside. Then we're going to fold in half. Okay, now we are going to sew that one on. So you just keep going until you get all 6 of these on here. Just like that. Now we've got 4. We're going to do another printed. These are some of the most simple but prettiest flowers. And you can do a lot of flowers like this by folding them different ways, folding circles different ways, and stitching them together like this. They'll make different sized and different shaped petals. So you can do a lot of different flowers this very same way. Okay, one more pink one. Let's do this one in half, and in half. Very, very simple. And then again, we've still got everything on that same piece of thread. You're just going to, again, stitch this right on there. Okay? Very simple. Then you're going to pull this all together. You got to be careful because they will flip around on you. So then once I get my last one on, I'm going to kind of pull them tight. And then I'm going to stitch back into the edge of the very first one that I started with, right here where my knot is, okay? I'm going to come back in the back side of that one up through and pull those two together, the last one and the first one, okay? And then I'm going to make sure these are going to spread out nice. Make sure they're going to lay really nice. Don't pull it super tight until you make sure it's going to lay real nice, and then you can kind of tighten it. And don't tug on your thread too much, because if it breaks, all of these are going to come off. You're going to start all over. So then once I get all of my pieces on here, I just take my needle and run through some of the fabric here, like some of the very ends in the center where your button's going to go, and I start to pull through, and then this loop that's here, I put my needle through that and tighten it, and that makes knots. So I do that 2 times at least. You can do it 3 times if you feel better, but you're going to glue a button there too. So you want to make a knot. Whoops. Don't let it get caught on your petals. So I've got a little knot there. Now I'm going to cut that loose, and we are ready to attach a button, okay? We've got our little knot in the center. Everything is sewn. We're going to make sure it's all laying out nice and flat. And we're going to glue a little button in the center with some hot glue. Ready to go. So I've got some beautiful little buttons here. I love the ones with white and gold on them, so that's what I'm trying to use on mine. I need one more white and gold one, and I don't have another one, but I'll have to find something to use that's pretty. So, okay. So we are going to just flatten that down. And then we have our little flower. Look how gorgeous that is. So then we are going to take a piece of the, one of the skewers. And I haven't cut these off yet. They're not going to be this long. I'm going to cut these off. But I'm going to go ahead and adhere these on here on the back. So I'm going to put a little glue here in the center. We're going to attach our skewer. And then you're going to take one of your little circles that you cut out. And it doesn't matter what color. And you're going to put a little glue around the edge of it. And place that right down to cover where your skewer is attached on the back. Okay, so you have your button on the front covering the center where it comes together, and then your little piece of fabric on the back covering where the skewer attaches, so that it's kind of finished on the front and the back, and it looks nice. So there it is. And isn't that pretty? So look at them all together so far. Look how gorgeous these are. Now we're going to take our embroidery hoop. We are going to take 2 of these thicker skewers. They're skewers, but they're the size of dowel rods. We're going to cut these down, And we're going to glue these across the front of this like this, okay? So I need to cut these. Ooh. Okay, so we're going to glue these across. I hope I didn't cut them too short. I almost did. I almost cut them too short. I went ahead and painted my skewers white so that we can add some lace across them, because we're going to be using the white beads, and we'll probably also paint the stems of these white as well. So I have added some lace across the skewers that I have painted white. Now we are going to attach our white beads on here across. I'm not sure how many we're going to need here, but we're going to glue some on here. I've got several. I think I have plenty. We're going to put those right in the center. Just like that. And we're going to add one more. Okay. So there's what you have. Now we are going to cut our, maybe we'll just leave these plain. We're going to cut these down. We're going to see how long they need to be. We're going to put these in our little beads. Okay, these are going to hold our flowers. Isn't that cute? Okay, I am going to just put glue right in the opening of the bead there to kind of hold these in place, because the holes in the beads are bigger than the skewer. Let's do this one maybe a little bit taller. So I'm going to use my wire cutters here to kind of even that off like that. I'm going to go in, I'm going to go in every other one, because I'm going to put some greenery in the ones that we are not putting florals in, okay? Then we're going to go in this last bead over here with this one. But here's what it's looking like. And this would have probably worked better with a bigger embroidery hoop, but I thought, oh, I'm going to try it with a small one. And I mean, it's cute. Now I'm going to take some greenery, and we're going to put greenery in the other beads that we didn't put flowers in, just to add a little something something here in each one of the beads that we did not add a flower in. And I'm making a mess. I'm getting glue everywhere. Isn't that pretty? That's so cute. I think it's cute. I think it's super cute. Do with this. So all we need to do, I might actually use a little piece of this to hang it with. I think I'm going to untwist it and just take a little thin piece. A little thin piece. Tie the ends, and we'll put it on the back of this. It's not going to stay twisted, but I think we'll use that as our little hanger, and that'll be really pretty. Okay. Cut that off a little bit. So we will just put this right on the back here. And then it is ready to hang. I think that is so sweet, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you love the little flowers we made. Hope you'll give them a try. If you do, let me know, and I will see you guys again very soon.